more or less reads like Siddhartha from Hermann Hesse. Like it's just he's kind of like this Buddhist figure who's just saying, and then this happened, and then this happened, and I thought this about that, and isn't this crazy about humanity? Like it's more of like a journal entry written to no one. But at this moment, you don't hear any voiceover. Ed stabs Big Dave with like a cigar knife that he got from his desk.
Right. Big Dave had a letter opener type thing, dagger on his desk, that he said he took from a Jap he killed.
Yeah.
Which will be key later because Big Dave's also a liar. And he stabs Big Dave in the side of the throat. Big Dave bleeds out.
I love the shot where it cuts to right before he gets stabbed. It cuts to like a shot of them up at top, and if you haven't seen the film, it's all in black and white. And they do a lot of amazing like looking shots. It really looks like something from like a Herrell painting or something from the 1930s. At first you think there's people in the shop, but it's just the mannequins because those are well lit,
right.
And nothing else is lit, and then obviously Big Dave's office is well lit. And for this time when I watched it, I totally thought, I was like, wait, there's people there?
Doesn't seem to be reliable anymore.
Yeah, because his sister died.
Right. So he has to hire another barber to fill in. So now there's a guy who he hates even more than Frankie, who he hated.
I love that one line too, because one of the things that he hates Frankie for
is that
he's a chatterbox, constantly talking. And Ed is the exact opposite. He just cuts the hair. But he says about, which I think comes into play later, the new hire. He's like, I picked the guy who's the quietest. But turns out the guy was probably just nervous from the interview because the second that I hired him, he was just chatting. So everything's the same once again. It's as if you just replace one Frank with another. His life is literally the same. He also has, as he answers the questions of the detectives, they ask how long it's been since he had said, because it's later revealed that when she hanged herself, that Frances McDormand was pregnant, so they wanted to know if, like, when was the last time that Ed...
It's another officer comes off duty and is like, I just felt you should know
she was pregnant, but also, like, when did you have sex last? Like, because they're trying to figure...
Years ago.
And he's like, he's like, Mrs. Crane and I had not had the sex
for several years. Yeah.
And it's just like, so nothing has changed about this guy's life, even though his wife died. And
he should be in jail for murder.
And he
took money and gave it away.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, in the midst of all this, of course, Creighton Tolliver disappears with his money, and he assumes, well, I just got fucked. Then it turns out, no, James Gandolfini is homophobic enough that he beat the dude to death. Like he said, I found him and beat him out of it, that homo. And then later you found out he beat him to death and like threw his body in a quarry or something. So the money's just gone to places unknown. Everyone involved in the scheme is dead, and he's never even once been like suspected of anything. He's just living his shitty life. And then all of a sudden, he does get arrested. And I forget what for, so I have to scroll.
No. Here's what happened. He didn't just throw, and this is one of the times that I actually...
he gets arrested for the murder of Creighton Tolliver.
Because he's in the trunk when, so let's go back a little bit, because it's two things happening at once. Ed's making, so apparently
Alright, it's September 7th, 2025, and I think I'm done this album. I ended up calling whatever this becomes, if this becomes an album, I ended up calling it Happy People, because I thought it was kind of funny. And I've been making art every day kind of around that theme, and I thought it fit pretty well to some of these song ideas. The reason I think it's done, I just finished like another long song. It'll probably be 15 to 20 minutes long. Not as droney as the one I did yesterday, but kind of droney. More mellow, but it's got vocals that remind me of Swans again and stuff like that. So, yeah, it would probably be around 15 minutes at least. And it only took me a little bit to put it together. I already had the files in mind that I wanted to combine. They were all from around September 2 years ago. And it took me maybe, I don't know, half an hour, 40 minutes to put 3 parts together that made sense to me. I have to go back and check, but I think every song on this album is a 3-part section song. So this one's going to be weird to put together, to record, and to see how that turns out. Maybe I'll notice it more than other people that this would be a very unique sounding album in terms of my songwriting and stuff. But yeah, so I have 6 songs. I'm going to make a Substack post of this one, and then I'll make another one tomorrow, wrapping everything up, I guess. And like I did with Maybe Aliens, I'll just list all the songs together and write a little bit about the process of this one. It took about a week, I guess, to put these together. From mostly new ideas and then building on those new ideas from old recordings. And that's how this process went for this album. I'm overall pretty happy with it. Maybe the lyrics are best on this one. I woke up a little bit earlier today, around 12:30 in the afternoon, after I went to sleep last night around 5 or 6. And stayed up, watched the Phillies game, most of it. And while I was doing that, I just kept getting bits of lyrics that I kept writing down. And it came out to a pretty long outro section, wrapping up a lot of the shit that's been in my head for a while. So much of the art that I made is about that duality. Like, if you're not this, you must be that. We're going to manipulate shit to make you look like this and that, whatever we want. So this last song is very interesting. I wasn't planning to have these thoughts come out like this, but it's like art as alibi, because I feel like people try to put words in my mouth and try to speak for me on shit. And it's an annoying and dangerous fucking existence when people think they could speak for you. Maybe I was too sheepish in my past where I let people do that. But yeah, don't let people do that. Don't trust people to ever fucking speak in your name or describe how you feel about stuff. If people are playing games with you, then call them out on their bullshit. I wish I would have done that 5, 6, 7 years ago when people were doing that, but I'm not a confrontational person most of the time. I've never had a fight in my life. I don't like conflict. I think it's a waste of energy. Sometimes it's unavoidable. And if you're put in that position where people manipulate you at work, at home, anywhere, school, just, call those people the scumbags that they fucking are. Don't let them keep doing it. For anyone that's been in that situation or put in that shit, you probably understand what I'm talking about. So the ending of this song is very much a release of all that bullshit. Like, all I'm trying to do is make my money, get out of this apartment as quickly as possible, move to the west coast of the United States, either New Mexico, Arizona, California, like I've said many times. The west coast is kind of calling my name. New Mexico seems cool, and you can get better land value and everything. But I don't really know. I'm planning to get a Chevy Bolt and drive across the country within a week or two. And who knows what's going to happen. I might make it to Delaware and my car blows up or some shit. So, I don't know, man. You can't live like that. But that's the plan I have for the next 10 years of my life. And yeah, this was a good release today. Just, if somebody's treating you like a fucking pawn or trying to speak in your name or do shit, trying to set you up in the bullshit, well, call them out on their bullshit. And if they refuse to stop, well, they're meaningless. They're meaningless fucking people with no backbone and no intelligence. All they rely on is living through other people, and they get off on that or some shit. This is going to be a long ramble already, I can tell. There's an Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where Dennis and Dee pretend to be some business person. I forget his name. It's a funny name, though. I wish I remembered. And Dennis, like, gets off on it. He assumes someone else's identity, and there's a whole backstory of, like, this business with Danny DeVito's character. It's a good episode. I laughed out loud, like, throughout the whole thing. And yeah, some people are just scumbags. They want to fuck with people because they don't have anything in their life. I've said it before, like, you either wake up and you want to create stuff, or at least be, like, in hockey, a plus minus. As long as you're not a minus, I don't care. You could sleep all day for all I fucking care. Watch whatever you fucking want to watch all day. And this is a tough conversation. I was about to say, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But, you know, even with modern technology and doing stuff like that, maybe there's some repercussions of global capitalism and the financial marketplace, bad work, labor practices in other places where devices are made and shit. So it's a complicated conversation, but I don't want to go that deep into it. Basically, yeah, you're either a creator or a destroyer. If you're not creating or trying to create, just, you know, don't get in people's way who are trying to do that. I feel like I'm being blocked from pursuing this career that I've worked 4 or 5 years to build. And it's shitty because I don't have time to waste. My last song of the month for September, I finally picked one. It was from William Tyler, great guitarist and songwriter. It's called Man in a Hurry because it just fit my position. I'm looking for land right now. I'm looking to buy a car, learning a little bit about solar panels, if I could do it myself, or probably have to hire a company to do that, and the concrete for my foundation. And I'm looking up all this stuff, but I'm broke. I don't have the money. All I'm doing is, like, good research, but I need the money first, and then I could really put all this stuff into action. I said yesterday I'll probably live in my car for a couple months. And I'll probably get a Chevy Bolt or a Prius. I'm not 100% sure yet. But I want to go electric because I'll take my chances, whatever. And the Chevy Bolt just looks cool, fun to drive and everything. I've had a Chevy before. I had a Chevy Blazer for like a decade, and it was pretty good. I've driven a Chevy Cruze on a road trip before, and it was like the most fun car I've ever driven. And yeah, so there's so many things in my head that I'm trying to explore. And it's not that I'm whining about it. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm just frustrated that I can't really put this plan together because I don't have resources to do so. And I'm sure there's millions of people who feel the same way as me. Like, people always ask you, if all the money in the world, what would you do with it? Well, like, I've said detailed of what I would do with the money. I've given a detailed, like, business plan of what I want to do. And yeah, I would love to make money for other people. I've said that before. Help other artists later in my life when I have the resources to do so. Other artists that feel stuck in this stale, commercial, um, socially engineered kind of, either in the music industry or television and film. Yeah, it's tough to be DIY, and I would be happy just to be able to survive to a degree at some point in my life. If I'm able to buy my own plot of land, like a half an acre is all I really need for myself, I could be pretty comfortable for the rest of my life. Pay whatever property tax and whatever else I need to live. And hopefully I can make enough money to survive at that point. But I can't get to my destination to build my headquarters, which is pretty much what it is. It's my shipping container home, but it's also my home studio and my headquarters for my business. And it's basically just going to be a 40-foot shipping container. I'm going to tell the people fabricating it, leave it one empty room, just insulate it and stuff, but don't put any room divisions so I can get good acoustics in it somehow. I'm going to have to work with that. I'm not sure how the metal is going to sound in terms of echo and stuff, so I might have to improvise later on with different materials for the walls and stuff. And yeah, YouTube is great because it really shows you the genius of some people, of how they put solar panels together and live off the grid like that. I'm not sure where I'm going to go yet, if it's off the grid, if it's kind of on the grid plus off the grid. I don't know yet. Like, it's a tough thing for me to do. I'm not the handiest person, so I would really have to put some time in to learn how to maintain the solar panels and make sure I have internet connection. It's a lot of stuff. I wouldn't buy land unless I actually go see it first. So that's where I'm at right now. A lot of the land that I found was around $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in New Mexico, especially. I looked a little in Arizona, but mostly New Mexico because it seems like a pretty cool place to live. And it's good temperature. I don't want to deal with any winter time below 40 degrees if I can manage that, so I don't need heat or anything. And yeah, that's where I'm at. I've talked about this enough already, so I don't want to bore people with this stuff. But yeah, I'm stuck in this purgatory because I'm not going to do anything else. I got let go from my job in 2021, 4 years ago, almost 5 years probably. And I set out to do this, to invest in myself, to work for myself. And that's what I did. I created almost 3 departments in my business. There's a screenplay, television movies, there's a music department, and then there's a visual arts department. Visual arts and other kinds of books and like a publishing company type of thing. Yeah, it's only me. But eventually I would like to work with other writers who don't have an outlet, and hopefully I have that influence at some point where I can help other people. I always said there's people in the world that have way better ideas than me, way better songs than I do, way better material, artistically, visual arts, concepts for stuff. But a lot of people don't have the necessary access in their own country, or if they want to do it in America, whatever the case might be. So yeah, that's always something I've had in mind that I could do with my business as well. But at this point, I'm about to be evicted and homeless. So it's like, I can't be thinking big picture like that. I don't even want to be looking at cars and looking at land because that's big picture. Right now, I just need to focus on making the money from my Kickstarter, from my books, from everything else I've done for the last 5 years. I can't do much else than the work I've done. I've done more than enough, and it's time to see a return for everything. I can't pay myself and start this business by myself. I can't go to a bank and get a loan for what I'm trying to do. I'm in a purgatory because I'm being blocked, and people who are blocking me have to get out of my way. It's not something you should do in any country, but I feel like in America it's promoted the free market, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all that stuff. No one's going to disagree with that statement. Nobody, Democrat, Republican, communist, anarchist, socialist, libertarian, whatever the fuck you call yourself. Nobody's going to disagree with life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. If you live your life trying to fuck somebody else up, like, yeah, like, what are you doing? You're a criminal. Find something to give your life a purpose. If I didn't do this art shit, yeah, I don't know what I would have done these last 4 years. Because there's no way I will ever get another job where people can manipulate you, intimidate you, threaten you. All the shit I went through COVID times, up until I got let go, wrongfully terminated in 2021. And then, what's the point of it? I went through all that shit. Mental breakdown, nervous breakdown, people intimidating me. Pretty sure people were spying on my shit at home, in my apartment. People tracking me and taking pictures of me and shit. It's been a weird experience, but I don't want to sound too much like a paranoid schizo by saying all this stuff. I've been through a lot of weird shit, man. At work, especially. And why am I bringing this up? Because I'm still writing songs. This entire album has pieces of this in these songs. Of all the manipulations and bullshit that people play. You do not get to play mind games with people. That is not something you get to do with anyone else's life. And I feel like people think it's okay. Some people think it's okay to treat people like that, like they're pawns or some kind of fucking, this is all just a game. And it's a ridiculous way to live your life. If you're young or old and that's how you live, you need to re-examine your life. That's all I'll say. I'm not a crazy capitalist dude. Like, you gotta be productive 24 hours a day and make each quarter more profitable by 20%. Like, if you want to live like that, fine. But a lot of people don't like that type of life philosophy. You have to constantly be growing, expanding, and crushing your competition, whatever bullshit. But there's a side to capitalism that's very fair and very free. That's the side that I'm trying to focus on. Is communism a bunch of naked hippies running in a commune, or all the violent shit from the Soviet Union? Is capitalism Gordon Gekko type of cutthroat capitalism, or is it the free market and fair and balanced competition? There's so many different versions of these political concepts. So it all comes down to the individual, really. I had a quote that I added to to the last song that I came up with today, and I think it sums up this entire album and maybe my political philosophy, because I'm always going back and forth. I don't know how to manage healthcare or foreign relations. I always give my opinion on shit, but I'm not as educated on this stuff. I admit that. I don't really know what socialized medicine is, but I just think, maybe healthcare is kind of fucked up the way it is right now. For-profit healthcare might not work. But I had this idea earlier that individualism might be the most useful and progressive political philosophy one could place their faith in, humanity within. That's not a great sentence. Individualism might be the most useful and progressive political philosophy one could place their faith in humanity. That works. Individualism might be the most useful and progressive political philosophy one could place their faith in humanity. If any given society decides to promote the intake of mass propaganda on an issue-by-issue basis to the best of their abilities, while also trying to avoid getting fucked in the ass by all the manipulative bullshit of tribal allegiances. If such an age of transparency comes to exist, best of luck, because it's not an easy road to maintain when you become immersed in all the nefariousness of identity politics. Yeah, I'm not a great... this is why I couldn't do an audio book. I'm not great at reading stuff out loud. My vocal inflection. When I do these talks, it's just off the cuff, man. Completely. I don't have any outline, notes, or anything. Whatever pops in my head is coming out of my mouth, pretty much. But I wrote that quote about individualism, and I think that's my main philosophy. Yeah, sure, it's a vague look at society. Individualism, what does that mean? You just look out for yourself and nobody else? I don't think that's what I mean. I mean just, it's more about critical thinking and not getting sucked into the tribalism, the groupthink. That's what I'm talking about more. Individualism in that term as a philosophy. Because all that tribal shit, people become assholes. And I'm just stealing stuff from George Carlin, but I agree with that statement. Like, people just become assholes. They get powerful in groups, and it's usually bad. It's a very cynical, negative approach to humanity, but I don't know. I guess that's how I view a lot of societies like that. America's a different animal because it's everyone, and what does it mean to be American? To me, it just means leave everyone fuck alone to live how they want to live their fucking life. And you should be able to succeed if you work hard enough at it. That's what it means to me. I don't care where you came from or what the fuck you pray to. I don't care. I don't care what you do with your penis or vagina, as long as it's a legal, consensual thing. But yeah, it's like all this identity politics stuff takes people's mind off of those concepts where your life is not defined by who you fuck or what turns you on or how you define your gender, what pronouns you use. Your life isn't defined by your race or religion or your nationality. Those could be things you're proud of, you want to explore and whatever, but that doesn't define you as a person. I feel like identity politics forces people to view people by these, how they check these boxes. And it's really fucking boring, dude. It's cunty. I keep saying cunty living is very boring. And living by identity politics as your only overriding philosophy in life is very boring to me. And anyway, aren't people constantly like evolving and changing? And so it's like, why would you want to box yourself in and say, this is my team, I'm not going to ever change any of my thoughts or opinions on anything. If you don't agree with me, you're this and that. I feel like that's the discourse that the media wants people to have. But, you can get trapped in that too, but in that bubble. I still feel like most Americans don't fall into that trap. I'm trying not to even think about this stuff, but if you look at the third part of this song today, it's all about that general view of duality, like where you buy your food, what cashier you use, what color in your blood, on your hat, who you love, currency and chemicals, baseball team and God you push, party and platforms blocked, where you keep your money locked, how you cut your hair and dream, what day you rest, what blade to clean, shapes and numerology, signs, symbols, sexual scenes, names you keep, blessed and forgotten speech, and how you raise your demons, viewing habits and history, likes, subscriptions, origins, thoughts like concubines, and art as alibi, still art as alibi. What quarterback you pledge your meat, what celebrity you fuck delusionally, cunted minds like cobalt mind, what guilt, what shame, what traditional theme, what trigger, what symptom, what insect, what sanction, boycott, disunion, what context, confusion, what second opinion, what medical jargon, political purity, what news from the pharmacy, what more can be denied, what conflict in disguise, art as alibi, what frequency to deafen, what charity to question, transparency of sabotage, snap your photo, trace your cause, track your inner sanctuary, lead the witness, then leave them buried. When sleep is finally sacred, when cancer faked, what fiction baited, what vendor, what power, what tuning, what tower, what influencer devoured, what kingdom empowered, what link to the fire, what troll to unfollow, what email provider, what movement to swallow. And that was a very rough attempt to read this stuff, because this is the first time I read the whole thing. And yeah, these just came out pretty quickly. Looking back at all this shit that I've had to deal with over the last 5 years, I'm not whining, man. I'm just saying people need to stop fucking with people's personal lives and mental health and shit like that. It's a sick... There's a lot of sick shit out there. And the reason I want to go to solitude, I feel like I can escape it. But, yeah, I know, I understand weird people, strange fucking bullshit can follow you anywhere. But I don't care. I'm about to be evicted and die, probably starve to death in the woods. So it's like, I'm not afraid to get crazy, drive my car across the country, hopefully make it somewhere, and then hopefully don't die along the way. Hopefully don't get carjacked or whatever the fuck. But that's my reality. I don't know. I felt like reading that out loud because it came out very quickly today, and it kind of defines, or maybe it's a general synopsis of my last 4 years. Good and bad experiences. Then you're worried about sabotage. Someone's going to come fuck with me when I'm alone in solitude. Somebody's going to come break all my shit, steal my shit when I have a home studio. Like, yeah, no shit. Anything could happen, man. Anything could fucking happen. So it's like, I'm refusing to live my life on the worst case scenario part of things. And yeah, that's where I'm at. The worst case scenario is I'm already living it. I'm already experiencing what it's like to live in a purgatory. You have no control over yourself. You can't make an income. And everything you've done seems like it's just a waste because you can't make money off of it. It's a purgatory. I'd rather live in hell or heaven than be in a purgatory where you're just in between. Because, yeah, it's a shitty place. It's like, am I going to be able to do what I want to do or not? And if people are blocking my path, they just have to stop. They have to get out, move out the way. So they can, find something else to do with your fucking life. There's, you don't have to get a job. Just do something else. I don't care. I feel like I'm getting blocked because I've done so much already. I got plans for like 24 more screenplays just for my original series. I'm not going to work on any of those until I can make a living off of it. I got plans for so many other feature screenplays. I'm not going to do any of that stuff until I know I can make money off of it. And then there's all my music. So my typical day in my home studio would be wherever the money's taking me. If somebody likes one of my screenplays and they're like, we like your other concept, we'll pay you whatever, well then I'm going to work on that. If somebody wants me to write one of my children's book ideas, because I have a couple like that too, The Vulture Prince and The Greedy Squirrel, had some stupid ideas, but I'm trying to just create anything that pops in my head and see what is successful. Because you don't know. I don't know. I'm a hermit completely. Like, I have an understanding of the cycle of art and what's popular right now, kind of, but I don't want to think in terms of demographics or who am I trying to sell to or what's hot right now. Is science fiction hot? Alien movies? What's the good metaphor right now politically? Like, I don't want to think like that. I just want to get ideas and try to make cool shit. And I feel like that's the best way to approach it. I don't think that's why I'm not making money. Like, because even as I say this, a lot of my screenplays they're not very unusual. They're still written in a 3-act structure with normal conflicts a lot of the time. Maybe I try to put a different spin on stuff, but it's very common stories that have been done millions of times before. So, yeah, I was sure this would be a long ramble tonight. But back to the music on this album, yeah, it's a different. Of the 54 albums I've done, I've never tried to write an album like this, where, because of how I'm living right now, I've never lived like this before, where I sleep all day, and I barely do much when I wake up around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and I start lately doing some research on stuff to make my move more easy once I get paid and everything. And then around 7 or 8, I start working on each one of these songs, looking at past audio files and trying to write lyrics and stuff. Today's song was different. I just kind of already knew the audio files I wanted to use from 2 years ago. And I just had to come up with the lyrics during the day. So it didn't take me that long, maybe a couple hours in total. But you have to figure also the time it took to come up with the music when I was doing my jam sessions. So yeah, it's a long process. I don't want to pretend it's easy to do this. And I also don't want to pretend this is like the greatest song ever, because I don't even know what it's really going to sound like until it gets recorded, until I can record it the best of my ability. So yeah, but if I wasn't doing this, I feel like, I would be in a much more worse place mentally and physically if I wasn't trying to do some kind of song creation or any kind of art. It's good to say I accomplished all this stuff, but that's not going to help me when I'm starving to death. It's not going to help me when the police kick me out of here. So it's like, yeah, I'm happy to have the opportunity, but is it really an opportunity if you can't make a life out of it? Where it's not an opportunity. It's just I'm using my skills and my ability to write this stuff for no fucking purpose. I want to actually watch my screenplays turned into stuff at some point before I die. That would be awesome. So, I don't know. I look at my business like that. I split it up, like I said earlier, into 3 departments. There's the screenplays and film division. There's the music division, which could eventually become into like a record label. And the other department was visual art side, because I really like digital art right now. Over the last few years, I got pretty addicted to like creating stuff. And I guess that would be more the publishing side, art books and just weird books like that. And yeah, there's nothing I can do. I can't do this all myself. I just consider myself a writer, pretty much. Songwriter, screenwriter, whatever you want to call it, visual artist. But even though I don't consider myself to be a professional performer, or a musician even. I feel like I could record my songs the way I want to record them. Because technology is so good, I feel like I could do a pretty good job with it. I need 36,000 people who would agree with all my assessments of what's happening to give me or donate $25. And it's not quite donating. Like on my Kickstarter, you see for $25 you get all 10 of my books, which I've written over the last 4 years, or probably more like 2 years. I didn't really put the books together until the last 2 years. But my songbook, you could say it took me 20 years to write that one. And yeah, you get all 10 of my books for $25. And I'll just have to share a Google Drive with all the people that donate to me so they can download them for free. And that's pretty much what I'm offering. It's not just like you're donating money to me unless you want to. If you think, wow, this guy is passionate, he can make cool music. If he's given the opportunity to do it in his fucking shipping container house. And I just want to laugh at him inside his home studio inside a fucking shipping container. Well then, yeah, it's going to cost $25 to laugh at me. And that's the price of admission, I guess. Because the grassroots is the coolest way to do this. It's getting enough people to actually get their eyes on my Kickstarter, my Substack and stuff. I'm almost at 200 posts on Substack. This will be like 198, I think. So, yeah, it's been quite the journey on Substack. That's what I started on, and I've shown my work every step of the way. So if I do become able to record music and people, I'll keep my Substack as long as, yeah, if people want to go back and look at my Substack after they listen to my albums, I think that's pretty cool. You know, I'm just a person, dude. I'm not trying to be a celebrity or a famous person. All that shit is useless. I don't want to be an influencer. I just want to make cool shit. That's all. There's no propaganda. There's no corporate. I'm not a corporate plant or fucking propaganda. A person working as some corporate propaganda robot or some shit. I'm just trying to make cool shit. I don't really want to be writing about all this stuff because so much of my art over the last 4 years have focused on COVID and all the crazy shit. I don't want to write about that shit anymore. I just want to write about like nothing. Just make field recordings of frogs and fish and babbling creeks and never form lyrics again. That would be much more, it would be a different experience is what I'm saying. I could just make instrumental music at some point. It's like I got nothing else to really say. This long poem today came out pretty quickly, and I think it was pretty good. That's why I felt the need to speak this one out loud, I guess. And I'm going to read it again. I'll probably delete the other one and just read this one because I didn't like how I read it. Where you buy your food, what cashier you use, what color in your blood, on your hat, who you love, currency and chemicals, baseball team and God you push, party and platform blocked, where you keep your money locked, how you cut your hair and dream, what day you rest, what blade to clean, shapes and numerology, signs, symbols, sexual scenes, names you keep less than forgotten, speech and how you raise your demons, viewing habits and history, like subscriptions, origins, thoughts like concubines, and art is alibi, still art is alibi. What quarterback you pledge your meat, what celebrity you fuck delusionally, cunted minds like cobalt mind, what guilt, what shame, what traditional theme, what trigger, what symptom, what insect, what sanction, boycott disunion, what context, confusion, what second opinion, what medical jargon, political purity, what news from the pharmacy, What more can be denied? What conflict in disguise? Art is alibi. Art is alibi. What frequency to deafen? What charity to question? Transparency of sabotage. Snap your photo, trace your calls. Track your inner sanctuary. Lead the witness, then leave them buried. When sleep is finally sacred. When cancer faked. What fiction baited. What vendor, what power. What tuning, what tower. What influencer devoured. What kingdom empowered, what link to the fire, what troll to unfollow, what email provider, what movement to swallow. That one came out a little bit better. When I get to this point of recording anything, I'm at almost an hour. I just get too scramble-brained. But yeah, if anyone listens to this, yeah, check out my Kickstarter for real. It's $25. You can download all my books. I have 10 books on Amazon right now, including the anthology book, which is over 1,000 pages of all 400 of my songs. And maybe I'll have to make an updated version if if I want to include the newer songs I've done. But there'll be like an updated one, anthology part 2, from 2025 to 2040, if I keep writing music for the next 15 years.